The next person in the list is – I'm going to go to Lee on this one first because it is Mr. Stefan Lichsteiner. And Lee and I had our battles about Lichsteiner this season. I have to admit, Lee probably won when it comes right down to it. But Lee, Stefan Lichsteiner as a player, not as a player coach.
Waste of money.
Oh, by the way,
waste of wages, waste of space. I said that from the first time I see him, wasn't the sort of signing we needed. Been proved right again when by everybody, because everybody was saying what a great signing he was going to be and all that. And when Bellerin's got injured, I bet that out of the Maitland-Niles, who's not a right back, has played treble the times that he's done. That says it all for me. Listen, great to have around the camp and all that, but then they could have got Lee Dixon to do that. You know what I mean? That's how I feel about it, if I'll be honest. It's just not the sort of signing that inspired me from day one. 36 years of age. Credit to him that he's still playing at that level at 36, by the way. But for me, no, and a poor mark for me. I was thinking of probably going not lower than 5, but then you mentioned it, so 3 for me.
Okay, and
it's not a good signing. That's nothing personal.
It has nothing to do with the fact that he's as old as you are, and it threatens you a little bit.
No.
Oldest player on the team on the field, field player, not including Czech, now 35, 14 appearances, no goals in the league. But did he score or did he not score?
Who was that against?
Blackpool game.
Oh, right. Say no more.
Who were you sitting next to when that happened?
I was sitting next to you. Couldn't believe it,
I believe I literally sat on you, jumped on you, picked you up.
Because you was at this time defending him like it was your life depended on it. You know what I mean? And
well,
not the only one.
I don't. Sometimes I don't sit on the fence with things. He was the greatest right back of all time.
I remember saying it in a chat. Do you remember that? I said I don't think it's a good sign. I got absolutely pelted for it, but now everybody turns around and says, "Buzz, you was right, Lee."
Well, look, he wasn't signed to be a right back.
No one said that in the chat.
He was signed to be Hector Bellerin and Mainsley's asshole tutor. I was worried that the move, would work in reverse. Instead of toughening up Bellerin, you'd end up seeing Lichsteiner, leaving the stadium in sweater vests and fucking man buns and stuff, but prancing around Hornsey Road. But I think he did actually help Bellerin out attitudinally, probably taught him a little bit. But like you said, Lee, I got to hand it to you. 90,000 pounds a week to be Bellerin's tutor is something that Lee Dixon not only could have done, but he so much has said in the Arsenal Trust meeting that he would have been happy to have done. And I'm sure he wouldn't have charged, a penny over 85,000 a week for that. I'll give Lichsteiner a 4.172.
Is that for the goal against Blackpool?
That's why we can't.
Which don't count, by the way, because that's not a Premier League game. So.
That wasn't no, I'm not counting that goal. I'm counting his impact on Bellerin, which again is not supposed to count. But I made the rules; I can break them. Andy Lichsteiner,
95 Winston, Michael Hernandez, Matthew Belcher, and the sweet, beautiful Becca Rhodes sums it up. Best 2.
Oh, being generous with 3 then, so.
You have.
Okay. I was going to say 1 just so that we could say that you gave him the highest score, but all right. Next on the team, Aubameyang led the team in Premier League appearances with 36. Led the team in minutes for any non-goalkeeper. Averaged 76 minutes a game. Led the team, as we all know, and the Premier League co-leader in goals with 22. Andy, what are your thoughts on Aubameyang in his first full season with Arsenal?
When you sign a striker of his caliber, you want him to be the Golden Boot winner. He shared it. I would give him an 8. He was unfortunate not to score that penalty against Tottenham, so that's probably keeping me away from him being a 9, but God knows where we'd be without him in the squad. So I think for me, he's going to get an 8.
All righty. Lee, Aubameyang first say it.
Aubameyang, Pierre Aubameyang. I felt at the end of the day,
has AFTV done a special show of you like getting tutoring on
they've never done
with a voice coach?
If
we did that, it would get about 32 views. If they did it, it would get 32 million views. So
yeah, so
feel free to use my idea.
Yeah, it should do really. I'm going to go 8 as well because the reason being, top scorer, but there's frustrations with me with Aubameyang, if I'll be honest, because I watched him against Valencia and he was absolutely outstanding. And then watched him at other games and he's just been poor. And then I remember the game against Chelsea, which he didn't score in. His work rate was absolutely unbelievable. So I think that, football, is all about scoring goals come at the end of it. That's what it's all about. And, you can be having a poor game and banging a goal, and that's what it's all about. And, he is a goal scorer. I thought, the game against Burnley sums him up a little bit, gets a couple of goals there, great goal, and then misses an open goal.
Which would have given him the whole.
Which would have given him, and I just think that it just sums up Arsenal and sums up our season. That did really, but the penalty miss against Tottenham, I said on the day that happened that would cost us Champions League, and it did cost us Champions League because if we'd have won that game, we'd have been in the Champions League. I can say ifs and buts, but there you go, and it would have got him the golden boot as well, but. Let's be honest, he hasn't deliberately tried to miss the penalty. It's just one of those things. But then the game against Man United, I think it was the next week, wasn't it? A real pressure penalty, and he drilled it home. So, I think there is frustration with him, but ultimately he's there to score goals, Mike. He's done that. So for me, 8 out of 10.
All right. Ironically, that penalty against Manchester United, when he took it and made it, was a shit penalty.
Yeah, great.
It just happened to be that it went in, but it was as savable as any penalty.
I'm assuming the Mr. Arsenal podcast is your loverly.
That's Ryan Fletcher, by the way.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh.
He.
It looks like the logo on that is same old.
No, the Mr. Arsenal podcast is which is the co-podcast with the Mrs. Arsenal podcast.
Oh.
Ryan Fletcher. By the way, Ryan, keep asking me to come on. I'd love to, and good luck with getting India. So yeah, for Aubameyang, we have an 8 from Michael Hernandez, a 9 from Scream Boy, 8.5 from Winston, 8 from Becca. Let's see. By the way, I got to go back to Lichsteiner. Grant gave him a 3 for Licky Licky, which is the only person on earth that calls him that. Aubameyang, for me, again, I look relative. If I'm giving Lacazette a 9, I'm giving Aubameyang an 8.9. You can't argue with the ability to finish, and like Lee says, you can't win games without scoring goals. Imagine not having him and replacing him with, I don't know, Theo Walcott. We'd have been the mid-table team this season, and so as much as he didn't necessarily influence play in the same way that Lacazette did, I think he was just about as valuable. So an 8.9 from me. Off to Mainsley. Maitland-Niles. Niles. Not sure we can consider this a breakout season for him. At 21 years old, he appeared in 16 games, played the full game in about half of them, had a hairline leg break in the opener in the season and didn't make his return until the Southampton game that we lost our unbeaten streak on. Maybe he shouldn't have come back, but he played the whole season either as right back or right wing back. To me, he made one of the defensive plays of the season. I think it was against Watford. He came on as a late sub and pretty much saved that game, which at the time looked like it was going to be pretty important. I'll start off with Mainsley, and I'm going to have to give him a 5.2. Love the work rate, love the desire. Feel bad that he's playing out of position, but didn't quite break through as much as I had hoped for him this season. Andy, what do you think? Might be a bit harsh, but
Well,
I
speaking
had
of
higher
harsh, I mean, Beck has given him a 4.5. The Arsenal podcast is giving him a 7.5. Grant saying, I feel like this is going to be the pod that solidifies me as Mike and Andy's only straight groupie. Arsenal podcast 7.
You're going to have to ask Justin and Joey for that role.
Right. Mike Hernandez 7.5. Matthew Belcher 6. Screenboy 8.6. Kerry McCollum 5. Matt Walker 6.9. I also think Matt Walker said, what position are we grading him at? I think that's a good question. Grant saying Mainsley gets a 5.5. I'm going to say a 6 because he is being played out of position. I feel like he's the type of player who just wants to play. So when the manager says we need you here, he'll go, and he tries his best. I think we need to get him more in that defensive midfield role because I think that's where he is suitably trained. But I think a 6 is an appropriate score, Mike. Lee, what do you think?
Same as you, Andy. I'm gonna have to bang my head in a minute, like, you know what I mean. But it's 6 for me, like, you know. And what I was disappointed with was against Burnley. He didn't play midfield in a role that I want to see him playing. I want to see him playing in his proper role, and that disappointed me that he's had to play right back because I think that he could possibly become. And you know, I'm not saying that in the mould of Aaron Ramsey, he's got that box to box energy. He's got a box of tricks on him. You know, like, look at the game against Valencia when he took on the fullback there and put in a cross. He's got ability. I want to see him playing central midfield. He played there against Man United last season. And he was absolutely brilliant. He absolutely run the show, you know, and I just want to see him in that position. He's done okay at right back. He's done okay as a wide player. You know, forget that he got a broken leg at the beginning of the season. So from that point of view, he's come back well. But for me, he's not been playing his regular position, and 6 out of 10 for me, Mike.
All right. And, you know, if one of the criteria was team player and heart, I would have given him a 7.5.
Oh, without that, it's been fantastic that way. Right?
Yeah. But that wasn't one of the criteria. So I think those 5s and 6s and pretty much what he's getting from the chat are about appropriate. And again, an apology to anyone that's joined us lately that the video is not necessarily matching with the audio, and you get to watch me like play with my teeth or Andy stare at himself in the mirror or any of those things. But I'm having to do it manually and doing a lot of things at once. So anyway, we got to pick up the pace a little bit on these. So let's get to Rob Holding. Just barely made the list with 10 appearances exactly. Played 10 consecutive games during our undefeated streak, full 90 in 9 of them until he did his ACL. And, you know, that happened pretty much. Things went downhill for the team from there. So I'd say he's our most valuable player this season. But Andy, Rob Holding.
7. I think he was greatly improved, like Bellerin. Unfortunate injury. If he's healthy, he starts every match over Koscielny and Mustafi.
Yep. And so you're giving him a 7?
7. Yep.
Okay. Sorry, I missed it. Lee, for you.
Yeah, I think, you know, he's improved a lot there, but we're still conceding goals when he was there. I think that it's a real shame that we didn't see him for the full season because I think, you know, going into next season, it would have been even better. For me, 6 out of 10. Didn't play enough games, if I'll be honest, but definitely one for the future. And disappointed out of everybody that's got injured this season. He's the biggest disappointment for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be hard to really know what to expect from him next season with so little play this season and an injury that he's going to be coming off of. But based on what I've seen on people coming back from ACLs these days, not the least of which is Tom Canton, who came back stronger than ever from his. I would back him to be one of our regulars next season once he comes back in.
Who, Tom Canton?
Maybe not. Hard pass. I would say based on the 10 games and the 10 games only, I'd give him a 7.5. I do think things went downhill with our defense after both he and Bellerin went out. I don't think there's any question about that. So you got to kind of pump them up for what they did before they went out.